Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I will be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link, or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 176. Before I jump into today's topic, did you know next week, April 19th to the 25th, is National Library Week? And this year's theme is Find Your Joy, which I think is just brilliant. I love it. I have the honor of presenting at dozens of libraries every year. Your local library is a treasure trove of books and activities, programs and opportunities. If you haven't visited yours lately, today would be a great day to do so. And spending time at your local library fits nicely with today's topic. So today's working title is When a Change of Scenery Changes Everything. I love my community for many reasons, but one benefit is client and friend inspired article and episode topic suggestions. For example, I know I explained my recent article and episode about naming conventions was inspired and offered by a friend and client who asked good questions and then said, "Ooh, you should make that into a podcast episode topic." Similarly, last week, I received a text from a friend, and after she told me what she wanted to tell me about a breakthrough she had around getting her important work done, she said, "Feel free to use that as a blog topic if you haven't already." And you know what? I'm actually going to quote her fully here since she gave me permission. She said, "I had to update you on I won't get specific, but the problem she was having around daily sales numbers that she was trying to figure out during a recent productivity session." She said, "I don't know, but something clicked. It's crazy how a different setting or taking a break can make you see things you couldn't see before." And she is right. This is a great topic idea. Truly, you all are brilliant. So this person recently attended an admin night. So this is a plug for admin night too. This is coming out the day after our most recent admin night, but I'll share our next date next week. This friend was working through a bookkeeping question and was tackling it logically and competently, of course. She had ruled out all the things that weren't the problem. And when she looked at it while in a different context, like an admin night, she was able to see the problem from a different perspective and solve the mystery. Now, don't get me wrong, you know me. I talk endlessly about the importance of habits and routines, and I am certainly not about to change that theme here. Habits and routines are the essential foundation for a healthy and productive life. We have what we have. We like what we like. We know what we know, right? And that's great. And yet, once the habits and routines are completed, we can also benefit from changing things up sometimes. There are times when, either on purpose or by a fortuitous coincidence, I don't believe in luck, we find ourselves in a new environment or location, and we are able to look at a familiar situation through new eyes. So let's think more about this. I've been working with my most recent cohort of students with the Highway Construction Careers Training Program, and we are currently working through the professional communications content. When we started on the communications content, we discussed the 8 components of communication: message, sender, channel, receiver, feedback, context, environment, and noise. Now, we all are used to thinking about the senders and the receivers of the message, of course, when we communicate. But the environment and noise can make or break our efforts for communication. Noise, and I'll put that in quotation marks, noise is actual noise that we hear, but also anything else that interferes with the communication process. Anything that gets in the way of our sending and receiving messages. For example, I work from home many days, and there is often actual noise, like family members or, neighborhood noise in my office. And then there's also the noise of my own thoughts or household tasks that might distract me or keep me from getting my work done. You and your environments, and me and mine, have noise and interference, right? Yours do, mine do, and we get used to our usual noise. So when we're in a different environment, the regular noise changes or is eliminated. Other noises may come in, of course, but our brains are activated in different ways with this new input. We are able to focus in new ways. Like my friend shared, something clicked. It's crazy how a different setting or taking a break can make you see things you couldn't see before. Here's another example. At the beginning of Lent, which just ended with Easter, of course, as we record, I read a reflection where we were all invited to go into the desert, to step outside our usual, our typical, our day-to-day lives for Lent, because there are things that we can learn only when we step outside of our usual day-to-day life. We know this is the case, right? So, what do we do about it? Let's get to the how-to. If you feel you might be in a rut or could benefit from a perspective shift, or you just want to see what could happen with new inputs, here are some ideas. When I was teaching my HCCTP students about learning styles and study strategies, I mentioned that my college senior son has a handful of favorite study spaces on campus. When he feels his focus waning while studying, he moves on to the next study space. The same idea works for us in the workplace. When you need new energy and inspiration, consider working in a different space. Take yourself to a different place in your home if you work from home, or a different workspace in the office. Perspective shift, right? You could also try taking yourself out to breakfast or lunch or coffee or your local library. When I have the opportunity on the calendar and also the need to think about things differently, like goal setting or strategic planning for my company, I take myself to my favorite local breakfast place. When I'm seeking that external stimulation, that burst of new, I will go there and spread out my notes and laptop on a table for a few hours. Here's a thought. Opposite day, right? For some reason, I have the opposite day episode from Seinfeld in my head as I suggest this one. Try something new for lunch. Sit in a different chair. Talk to different people. Make the opposite decisions that you usually make and see what the results might be. To a lesser extreme, shake things up in your regular environment. Try music or no music, whatever is the opposite of what your usual is. Maybe bright lights or not, open door or closed, a morning work block or an afternoon work block. Whatever is outside your typical operation. Another suggestion is to try performing routine tasks differently. For example, there have been many studies that brushing our teeth with our non-dominant hand takes us off autopilot. It re-engages our brains and increases brain health. Other suggestions similar are to write or doodle or use a mouse with your non-dominant hand. Again, taking our usual and trying things a little differently to activate our brains and see what happens. We can also recognize for ourselves the environments and situations in our lives that often lead to bursts of inspiration. For example, I have a waterproof notepad in my shower because as my brain is relaxing and taking care of shower tasks, I often receive ideas and insights, and I like to write those down before I forget. I have a notepad in the car too for similar reasons, and I audio record on my cell phone ideas like episode and podcast topics that come to me while I drive. Also, sometimes a shift in perspective comes from others. Sometimes we can talk through a problem with someone else, someone trusted but from a different perspective, and that can open us up to a new viewpoint, and that can have similar benefits. You could also try driving to a usual place by an unusual route. Turn down a road you've never been on before, or revisit roads you haven't driven down in a while. Notice how things have changed or how you have changed since seeing them last. You could also do something like try new foods or a new restaurant. I tried sushi a long time ago and I didn't like it. I am grateful though, my sons are all big fans of it now and have reintroduced me to it, and now I like it. If you can, go into the desert. Okay, maybe not the actual desert, but sign up for or go on a retreat and be intentional about why you're there or not. I mean, maybe the unstructured time would also benefit. And also travel if you can. I get a lot of really great ideas when I'm traveling. I love the idea of lessons in productivity and life from the road, from something that I see in a different state or people that I talk to, and they find out what I do and they ask me interesting questions. And then I want to make that into a podcast episode topic too. Routines and habits and normal are good. Typical is just fine. I am a fan of all of those things. And yet sometimes we benefit either on purpose or coincidentally from being immersed in different locations and situations. Routines are awesome. I'm not suggesting we abandon them, but there's something to learn about looking at something differently, trying something different. If you don't have the opportunity to go out into the desert, because, who does? There are still ways we can break out of our typical perspectives and routines, our typical environments, and try something new. And in that intentional trying something new, there might be ideas or imagination or motivation or sparks of insight that we wouldn't experience otherwise. Knowing what we know now, we can be open to those perspective shifts when they come our way and even invite them in by shaking up our usual environments once in a while. Support around getting things done is what productivity coaching is all about. If it is time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you next week.